I'm 112 years old, and before my time runs out, there's something important I want to share with you. Over the years, I've watched nearly everyone I cared about leave this world. Friends from childhood, my brothers, my beloved wife, and even some of my own children. And the thing that troubles me most isn't death itself. It's seeing people lose years, even decades of life because they never learned something simple, something I'm about to tell you now. There are 7 everyday foods that helped me live longer than almost anyone I've ever known. And I want you to understand that this wasn't because I was lucky or blessed with extraordinary genes. My father passed away at 59 and my mother died at 61. Heart problems seemed to run through my family like an unavoidable fate. Yet I'm still here, walking, thinking clearly, and enjoying life. The difference wasn't found in a hospital, it was found in my kitchen. If you're hearing this today, you still have an opportunity to change your future. But believe me, time disappears faster than you realize. When I turned 50, I felt like the best years of my life were already behind me. I had already outlived both of my parents. I assumed any extra years I received was simply borrowed time. Then my doctor delivered bad news. My cholesterol was dangerously high. My blood pressure was worse than ever. He told me I'd be fortunate to reach 60. He prescribed medications and said I'd probably need them for the rest of my life. For a while, I followed his instructions, but instead of feeling healthier, I felt weaker. I was exhausted constantly. My stomach bothered me. It seemed like I was fading little by little every day. Then I made a choice that changed everything. I stopped expecting medicine to do all the work. Instead, I started studying people who had lived long, healthy lives, the men and women who were still energetic and mentally sharp in their 80s and 90s. What I discovered surprised me. They weren't eating the same foods I was eating. They weren't living the same way I was living. So I began making changes. Just 7 foods, that's where it started. And now, 62 years later, I'm still here sharing this story. The first food was so simple that people often laughed when I mentioned it: oatmeal. I began eating a bowl of plain oatmeal every morning when I was 52 years old. Not the sweet instant packets loaded with sugar. I'm talking about traditional oats cooked slowly with water, a little cinnamon, and occasionally some raisins or berries. My wife thought I had gone crazy. She joked that it looked like food meant for farm animals, but I stayed consistent. Within 6 months, my cholesterol numbers improved so much that my doctor assumed I had started a new prescription. When I explained that the only major change was oatmeal, he was skeptical. Yet it was true. Oatmeal contains soluble fiber, which helps remove harmful cholesterol from the body before it can build up in the arteries. For 6 decades, that bowl of oatmeal has been part of my morning routine. It became the cornerstone of my health, and I truly believe it protected my heart. The second food is something I enjoy every afternoon around 3 o'clock: walnuts. Just a small handful, about 7 or 8 pieces. I started eating them in my early 60s when I noticed my memory wasn't as reliable as it used to be. At first it was little things. I'd misplace my keys or forget what day it was. It frightened me because I had watched my uncle struggle with what we now know as Alzheimer's disease. I worried that the same thing might happen to me. So I began reading and asking questions. Someone suggested walnuts for brain health. I wasn't completely convinced, but I decided to try them anyway. Within a year, I noticed a real difference. My memory improved. I remembered names more easily. Conversations stayed clear in my mind. It felt as though a cloud had been lifted. Today, at 112, I can still remember my 3rd grade teacher's name and the address of the home where I lived as a child. I truly believe walnuts helped keep my mind strong, and I've never stopped eating them.
The third food is something I wish I had started much earlier in life: spinach and other dark leafy greens. These days I eat them nearly every day. Sometimes they're part of a salad, other times I saute them with garlic and olive oil. I'm not talking about a tiny serving sitting on the edge of your plate. I mean a generous portion, at least a cup or more. When I was younger, vegetables felt like an obligation. They were simply something you ate before getting to the foods you actually wanted. But over time, I learned how valuable they really are. Leafy greens support healthy blood, strong bones, and a body that can better handle the effects of aging. Once I began eating them regularly, I noticed fewer illnesses, my energy increased, my skin looked healthier, I felt lighter and stronger overall. As we age, the body doesn't repair itself as quickly as it once did. Poor food choices accumulate over time, but greens provide the nutrients your body needs to stay resilient and continue repairing itself.
The fourth food completely changed how I felt physically. Fish. Real fish, not breaded fish sticks or heavily processed seafood. I'm talking about salmon, sardines, mackerel, and other oily fish. I started eating fish at least twice a week during my mid-50s. The difference was remarkable. My joints became less painful. My knees no longer hurt every time I stood up. I could walk farther and stay active longer. My doctor also noticed improvements in my blood tests. Fish contains omega-3 fatty acids which support the brain, heart, and joints. Some people think healthy fish is too expensive, but even canned sardines can provide these benefits. The key is consistency. Getting those healthy fats into your body regularly was one of the smartest decisions I ever made. The fifth food is one that appears in nearly everything I cook: garlic. Fresh garlic, not the powdered version. I chop up 1 or 2 cloves and add them to eggs, soups, vegetables, and fish dishes. It takes almost no effort and it improves the flavor of everything. But garlic does more than taste good. I honestly can't remember the last time I suffered through a serious cold or flu. Even when people around me were sick, I usually stayed healthy. Garlic has natural compounds that help support the immune system and may contribute to healthy blood pressure levels. Years ago, my blood pressure was so high that my doctor warned me constantly about it. After making garlic a daily habit, those numbers improved gradually over time. If I could travel back and give advice to my younger self, I would tell him to start eating fresh garlic every day. The sixth food may be small, but it delivers impressive benefits: blueberries. I eat them almost daily, either fresh when they're in season or frozen throughout the rest of the year. Sometimes I mix them into oatmeal, other times I enjoy them as a snack. Blueberries contain antioxidants which help protect the body's cells from damage. As we age, our cells face constant stress from pollution, poor eating habits, and everyday life. Without protection, they wear down more quickly. That process is part of aging. Blueberries help defend against that damage. Even now, my eyesight remains surprisingly good. I can still read comfortably and recognize faces without difficulty. Research suggests blueberries may support both eye and brain health. Whether that's the reason I've stayed sharp for so long, I can't say for certain, but I'm certainly not giving them up now. The seventh food is one many people overlook, and that's unfortunate: beans. Black beans, lentils, chickpeas, pinto beans, it doesn't matter which kind. I eat some form of beans almost every day. Sometimes they go into soup. Sometimes I mash them and spread them on toast. Sometimes I simply warm them up with a little seasoning. Beans are among the most nutritious foods available, and they're also affordable. They provide protein, fiber, and long-lasting energy. After I began eating beans regularly, my digestion improved dramatically. Problems I had dealt with for years disappeared. My energy became more stable, and those afternoon crashes faded away. Beans also support gut health, and a healthy gut plays an important role in overall wellness and immunity. When your digestive system functions well, the rest of your body benefits too. So there they are. Oatmeal, walnuts, leafy greens, fish, garlic, blueberries, and beans. These 7 simple foods have been part of my life for more than 60 years. I'm not a genetic miracle. My family history suggested I wouldn't live a long life. The difference was the choices I made every day. I've watched many friends leave this world too soon. One of them was my lifelong friend Harold. We grew up together, but our habits were different. I focused on healthier foods, while he continued living on fast food, sugary drinks, and processed snacks. By 65, he had diabetes. By 72, heart disease took him. His story taught me that the choices we make today shape the future we live tomorrow. The truth is, healthy eating wasn't easy at first. I missed the foods I was used to. But after a few weeks, I felt better. My energy improved, I slept more soundly, and my body felt stronger. Over time, healthy habits became my new normal. You don't have to be perfect. I still enjoy treats occasionally. Long life isn't built on one perfect meal. It's built on thousands of small, healthy choices repeated over many years.